Welcome back. It is October 1st in the MLB, the beginning of the wild card playoffs. It is Austin joined by Logan. We always need to do a recap of how we did the last day betting baseball. And we went 2-2. It's not the worst day in the world. We're sitting at about a little over plus 0.6 units. Now, we did not bet on Monday because, Logan, those games on Monday were nuts between the Braves and Mets. However, we need to talk about what's going on for the playoffs. And I'll go full screen for myself. Logan and I actually won't have any playoff baseball picks. Now, Logan and I both love betting baseball in the playoffs. Obviously, it hasn't been our best season ever. The fact that we're still positive a little bit is good, but obviously it hasn't been the best season for us. And there's a couple different reasons that go into it. Obviously, we would love to bet it, but we do have Logan. He's getting married. Props to him in a few weeks. I think what's the countdown? 10 days or so. So he's obviously got that in his honeymoon. He'll be a little distracted. I have NBA starting up later this month and obviously still focusing heavily on the NFL. So I think it makes the most sense for us not to bet playoff baseball. We're going to give out our World Series predictions, and we'll probably sprinkle on those ones in just a few minutes. But that's kind of the rationale for why we're not going to be posting any MLB playoff picks. We're happy to, end the season in the green just barely. But there's a lot of distractions that we got going on off the field, if you will. And so that's probably why we're not going to give out any MLB picks this postseason, but there's still going to be plenty of content on the channel. I'm going to throw it to Logan. He can talk about it, talk about getting married, do whatever he wants to talk about, and then we'll give out some World Series predictions. How are you doing, Logan?
Yeah, the obviously playoff baseball is the focus here. I love playoff baseball. One of the most electric times to bet baseball. I am very sad, we won't be able to do picks like that. But I do want to say that if you're interested in talking playoff baseball or just getting my thoughts on some of the games, best way you can reach me is either on Twitter, my handle at Logan from COS, or in the Discord, where all of our paying DubClub members can reach us anytime. So just definitely talk to us there still, because I will still be betting and on the side. Just don't have the time or the bandwidth to do videos like this because, as Austin mentioned, weddings take a whole lot of planning. Honeymoons, I think my then wife will be pretty mad if I'm on my phone, watching some playoff baseball. Now, I mean, I still want to do it when I can, but I just won't be as dialed in or tapped in as what needs, especially when these games have a lot of momentum. I mean, this is a great time of the year to talk baseball. So, without further ado, Austin, I say we give the people what they want. Let's talk some baseball.
Yeah, let's bring up the World Series and all the postseason matchups that we got going. I have the odds on one screen, and we have a couple different things. I kind of want to go through each of the different matchups, and maybe we'll arrive at who we think is going to be the final, who wins the pennant, and then who wins the World Series. We got the Red Hot Tigers, Logan, going up against the Astros. I believe the first game, which is today, is Skubal versus Valdez. Is there anything you like in today's game, or you think the Red Hot Tigers can potentially take down the Astros?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely a live dog in this one. What I love about baseball, especially in the playoffs, how hot are you going into this series? Did you get hot at the right time? This Tigers team has definitely gotten hot at the right time. I think they easily could win tonight's game. Tonight's game would be the one I would probably pick them to win. And I think a very trendy upset pick would be the Tigers, worth a sprinkle for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't love Skubal's matchup. The Astros have been red hot versus lefties, which obviously doesn't work well for him. I don't know. I'm going to root for the Tigers. There's no doubt about it. I'll root for the Tigers, see how far they can go. Because obviously, like a month ago, they were a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs and then went on a crazy run. If they do win, they'll go up against the Guardians, which we'll talk about later. We move it on down. We got the Royals taking on the Orioles. I believe today's matchup, isn't it Reagans versus Burns? This feels like an over. If I had to bet anything, I think we'd probably take the over. I feel like you got two teams that are at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, two teams that have been ice cold the last month or so. We know they have the offensive firepower to put up runs. I think it comes down to the pitching staff, though. If I had to, bet on either of those two teams, like Corbin Burns, he hasn't been great the second half of the year. The Royals have had good pitching, but their hitting has been absolutely terrible. Is there anything you lean and who you think comes out of that wild card playoff?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take the Orioles to come out of that series. They're going to figure it out. They have the better hitting 1 through 9. The Royals are just one of those weirdo lineups where they have like voids in the offensive production. Can't trust that in the postseason. Also, it's what we have to talk about is there's two bad bullpens in that series too. That's why I think you and I are in agreement that there can be sneaky runs pushing these games over their totals. You got to look at in the playoffs too. Starting pitching matters the least amount because they have shorter leashes. You get a lot more bullpen arms, and the more bullpen exposure there is to the Orioles bullpen and the Royals bullpen, That can lead to some late runs.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the Orioles win that series. I wish the Orioles were healthy. Like they had their full bullpen and their starting pitching. I feel like they'd have a chance to win this whole thing. I just don't think they have the pitching to get it done. I think their hitting can turn it around. I would move to the other side where the Mets just won and advanced into the playoffs. They're facing the Brewers. I know you're kind of high on the Brewers. Do you think they take care of business against the Mets today, and go against their Phils?
Yeah. I do think the Brewers win that series. I think they're last year's Diamondbacks. You have to look at the playoff matchups and you have to say who's going to catch fire at the right time, who checks a lot of the boxes. The Brewers to me still do. They are a small ball hitting team but can hit for power. We've seen them do both. So that checks boxes there. They have a bullpen that is able to rescue some of their mediocre starters, because some of their starting pitching won't be as aces as other teams, but their bullpen is good enough to get them through these games. And I like I mentioned, I think they have the hitting. This Mets team, I've seen them go cold at very bad times. Yesterday was obviously a crazy way to get in the playoffs, but they're riding a little too high off that. I like the Brewers in that series.
Yeah, I like the Brewers as well. They have a solid pitching staff. I don't think they're going to extend their starters, and they know they don't need their starters to go out there and throw them 6 or 7. Like, I feel like you might need some of the Mets starters. Their bullpen's been always hit or miss. Edwin Diaz has pitched, I swear he's thrown 100 pitches the last few days, so it'll be tough for them to win today without their closer. We'll see how that one goes. I think if we were to pick, we'd pick Brewers. Next one, Padres hosting the Braves. Now, as a Padres new fan, I'm wearing my Padres shirt. I like the Padres. The only problem is everyone and their mother likes the Padres. I do think they survived this series because the Braves have not shown me anything that really gives me pause. I think if you told me Chris Sale was starting, I'd be a little bit more concerned because the Padres have been terrible against lefties this season. I say terrible in quotation marks, much worse than they are against righties. They're really good against right-handed pitching. Now that Chris Sale's done, you don't get the Sale and Max Fried 1-2 punch. You're going to have, I don't know, maybe Ronaldo Lopez. I don't even know who's starting their first game. I think the Padres get out of that series. Do you feel any different? You think the Braves can steal one and maybe win that series?
If the Braves had a better bullpen, I would give them a shot in that series, just because they still have a lot of good bats in that lineup, but absolutely not. I mean, I can't take the Braves in that series. I think it's Padres, but it's not going to be easy. The Braves are not going to roll over for the Padres. I think what I really said is the bullpens. I mean, Raisel Iglesias looked, he's looked bad at points this year. If you're closer, the guys you really rely on just can't get those consistent outs. I don't really know where you go. You're going to be leaning a lot on Max Fried. Chris Sale not healthy. I really couldn't go Braves in this one.
No, I agree with you. They'll go on to face the Dodgers. We'll get to there in a little bit.
In that series, in the Tigers Guardians series, I'd be on Guardians. I like the Guardians a lot. I think they're one of those teams that definitely fit the playoff baseball mold. Mediocre starting pitching, that's okay. The bats playing small ball like that, getting timely hits, it's what they do. I like them a lot. They're obviously a formidable team at home, and that's what's going to matter. They have a bullpen to come in and close those games. I like the Guardians in that series.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think the Tigers' luck runs out there. I like the Guardians. Their bullpen is arguably the best. They got Class A, and once it gets to him, it's basically game over. It's obviously that's a powerful weapon in the playoffs. I think the Tigers' run ends there. We move on. We had a divisional matchup. Orioles facing the Yankees. I actually really like the Yankees. I don't necessarily know if they win the World Series here, but I do think they beat past the Orioles. They have the better pitching staff here. They obviously will have the week or so off, which obviously sometimes can be a little bit detrimental, but still, that Orioles bullpen is always lurking. While the Yankees bullpen hasn't been great this year, it's much better than the O's. So I would lean the Yankees to come out of that series. Do you feel any differently there?
Something just gives me weird vibes about that Yankees team, especially the starting pitching. I need to know that Nestor Cortez is fully healthy. If he is, I'd probably lean Yankees in that series. But you give the Orioles...
Who is Marcus Stroman?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like if you give the Orioles a warm-up round to get a little bit of hot, you got the Yankees rest versus rust, and they're sitting ice cold. Yeah, give me Orange Birds in that one.
Sure, I'll roll with the Orange Birds for you because we love Ryan and he's finally back and Ryan's the GOAT. So fine, I'll move on the Orioles into the next round to face the
Sure.
Guardians for us. Next one, we got to go to the top. Your Phillies. You think they can take care of business against the Brewers? Phillies obviously playing in the bank. Hard place to play. You think they advance to the NLCS?
I do. I would take the Phillies there. You know what? The Brewers have potentials to be last year's Diamondbacks, but again, the Phillies had to have learned a lot last year. Fingers crossed for my Phillies that they learned what not to do in that Diamondbacks NL last year. So hopefully they can take care of business there. Protect home field, especially at Citizens Bank Park, electric place to play. Give me Phillies in that series.
Yeah, 100% on board with you with the Phils. I mean, what the Brewers want to do is they want to get on base and steal. Hard to do that against Real Muto. So I think that could be a big difference there. Give me the Phils to go to the NLCS. Next one, big matchup, Padres-Dodgers. I want to back the Padres and be biased here. But I think if I were to bet anything here, I think the Dodgers come out of here. Obviously you will have had the Padres have their pitchers. They've already pitched, a few games here and there. I think they're starting with Michael King, Joe Musgrove, and then Dylan Cease. So we'll see how far that series goes. See if they have to use those arms. I think once you get out of those arms, if they have to start using the other guys, that's where you get into some trouble. I mean, Yu Darvish, he's not 100%. I doubt that Martin Perez pitches. And while the Dodgers are their pitching staff the best in the world? No. But I think they're serviceable. I think their bullpen serviceable has been pretty good second half of the year. And man, they got Ohtani, who's been the hottest player in baseball. I think this in his first October. You really think Ohtani's not going to put up some insane numbers? I think he has a massive playoffs, carries this team, and it makes it a lot easier where we saw last year where they really struggled. Mookie, Freddie, all those guys. Like, I don't even know if Mookie had a hit last postseason. I think with Ohtani being kind of that guy lead off, kind of putting some nerves into the other pitcher, I think I feel like last year maybe Mookie and those guys were trying to do too much. It's like they were trying to hit home runs or, carry the team on their back. They got Ohtani to do stuff like that. I think they just have to get their hits and timely hits and whatnot. So I like the Dodgers. Are you in agreement with me?
I am. And I think the difference between this year's Dodgers lineup and last year's Dodgers lineup is they just seem to be hitting 1 through 9. They're getting production from that bottom of the order. And if they're doing that, I definitely see them winning that series against San Diego because you know why? San Diego won't catch them by surprise. They're not one of those teams like Arizona last year where the Dodgers just simply underestimated them. That Dodgers-Padres series is real. They've gone back and forth. Heck, the Padres have stole several games from the Dodgers that probably pissed them off. Quite frankly, I think the Dodgers get a little bit of revenge there. They are by a fraction better of a team than San Diego, and I think they do show a little bit of star power on the Padres. Give me the Dodgers in that series.
I agree with you. We move back to the ALCS. We have the Orioles taking on the Guardians. I think Logan and I are in agreement here. I think we both like the Guardians. I think that bullpen will be the difference if these two teams match up. Both teams kind of similar, but I do like the Guardians a lot. I think they advance to the World Series. I think it's a team that a lot of people aren't saying, oh, that team could make the World Series. But, there's always got to be that small market team, Logan. You know that. I think the Guardians could be that. They haven't been the best team in baseball over the last, month or two, but they have guys in there that put the ball in play. And sometimes that's crucial when you just need to put the ball in play. You got a guy on third. You just need a ground out RBI or something like that. They have those guys, and they have guys get the timely hits. I mean, Jose Ramirez almost had a 40-40 season. Josh Naylor has been great, but I think the Guardians can make it onto the World Series. You think they can do it too?
Of course. I've been high on the Guardians all year. They're one of my money-respecting teams because of the way they don't try to do too much. They just put the ball in play. Good things will happen. In October, that's very crucial. They have several guys in that lineup that I can just see being like October heroes, and that's really what it comes down to. Those bats that just have scorching hot, playoff weeks when it matters the most. I like the Guardians a lot as well.
Who will be facing them, Phillies or Dodgers? The floor is yours, Logan.
Yeah, I have the future here. The future is unfortunately not great for my Phillies. They lose once again in the NL. I give me the Dodgers. I think what I've always said is like a lot of these playoff matchups, they go big market versus small market team in the World Series, and that's what we're going to see once again. The Guardians will make the World Series. They will face the Dodgers. And I think the Dodgers are just a little bit better than the Phillies. Why? Because they just have a better 1 through 9 than the Phillies. Because I just do not trust guys like Nick Castellanos to stay hot. I mean, when he's hot, he's hot. but when he's not, he's not. And woof. Some of those bottom of the order guys for the Phillies are always a little bit more suspect to me than the Dodgers. And I know I'm just talking blasphemy against my own team, but I got to call it what it is. With the problem with the Phillies last year is they got cold at the wrong time in the NLCS. Guys they leaned hard on Bryce and Trey and Schwarber. They couldn't hit a ball to save their life. That gives me a little bit of pause here.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an insane series if we get to see Phillies and Dodgers regardless. But people should know I do have a Dodgers future sitting in my back pocket at plus 600. I bet that at the beginning of the season. If you think I'm not thinking they're going to ride into the World Series, you're crazy. I've taken the Dodgers as well. I think they can get there. So our World Series matchup, the COS matchup, we have the Guardians taking on the Dodgers. Logan, you think the small market team can pull it off? They can beat the Dodgers?
Absolutely, they could. I mean, that I give them a fighting chance. It's really hard to me to pick a winner in that, because you're going to have several weeks of playoff to see who got hot, who did not get hot, and are the Dodgers hitting at the right time? The Dodgers are hitting at the right time. They can and they will win that series. They have a pretty solid bullpen. Each of those two teams has a solid bullpen. Don't make me try to pick a winner at that. But if I were to pick a winner, it's very hard to do. Give me Guardians.
I would actually pick the Dodgers. So COS does not have a winner here. Logan's got the Guardians. I got the Dodgers. I got to roll with my team. I got my World Series future, which probably jinxes them. I probably have no chance of cashing that. But you know what? Logan, actually, we'll roll with your Guardians. I don't want to have two separate picks. We'll roll with the Cleveland Guardians, and we'll see if they can come through. But we're just hoping for an electric playoff baseball, and hopefully we get some good action. There's a lot of I feel like this is a year. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's not a team you can pencil in. Like, all right, there's no way they're losing there. This is a team that this is a playoffs that there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. So I'm excited for it.
Me too. And one more thing about the Guardians, great manager, Stephen Vogt. He's really turned that team around. He's made them play inspired baseball. Weird thing about playoff baseball is you just have to have a bunch of guys believing in each other. It sounds so corny. It sounds so cliche, but it is what it is. I mean, you will see some teams with fight like no other, because if you're accustomed to watching baseball in like July and August, this is a whole different animal, because these guys, every pitch, every at bat they're acting like it's their last. I love playoff baseball. I'm super excited for it.
Hey, it's going to be awesome. Apologies, we aren't giving out any MLB picks this postseason, but we will see you guys back again in April with some more postseason, more picks and for the MLB. It's been a great season. Obviously not been the best for us, but hey, we're going to bounce back. We'll have a great year next year, and I 100% guarantee that. Let's have a great postseason, though. Let's enjoy watching these games, and we'll probably have some action. So if you want to join the DubClub, maybe Logan and I post some picks in there and just have some fun, some long shots, things like that we're sweating out. But you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys in a bunch of other videos. We'll obviously have Logan in college, NFL, and a bunch of other things. So stay tuned for those. Boston Logan, we're signing out. See you guys in the next one. Peace.